Would I be the asshole for taking back the couch my mom moved out of my room without my permission? Okay, so this is kind of a silly conflict, but I still would like some feedback. I, 16 female, am very uptight about my things. I'm an artist and everything in my room is painted, upcycled, DIY decorated, etc. The centerpiece of my bedroom is this leather loveseat that I bought from a neighbor and painted koi fish across. I love it, and not only is it pretty, but extremely convenient for sleepovers. Well, I came back from my dad's house and found out my mom moved my couch into her roommate's room without telling me or asking my permission. I was pretty upset, being possessive and uptight. But my mom explained to me this was done because her roommate has a foot injury and needs a place to rest. This is fine, I'm okay with that. Still a little upset my mom took my property without asking, but I understand the reason. Well, earlier I passed my mom's roommate's room and seeing as the door was ajar, I glanced inside. On my beautiful painted couch was a doggy pee pad for the roommate's chihuahua. I'm beyond furious. I'm not sure how to confront my mom's roommate about the fact she's encouraging her dog to piss on my couch, but I told my mom about how my couch is being used and she's unbothered. Sure, if my mom had bought the couch for me I would be less entitled, but she didn't, and I put a lot of effort into personalizing it. I'm considering taking back the couch and replacing it with my mom's recliner. I know it's petty to fight fire with fire, but a part of me feels like it would be justified to move something of hers and see how she likes it getting pissed on. Plus, I'm offering the roommate a replacement. Update. Well, I had a conversation with my mom and it didn't go very well. I told her I wanted my couch back or to be reimbursed the money I spent to buy it. My mom refused. I pressed on, saying that if she doesn't pay me or give the couch back to me, I'll just take it back and replace it. If it's no big deal to take my couch without asking, according to her logic I should be able to take something of hers. According to my mother, a recliner won't work for roommate's injury and they need something flat and stable. I point out that a normal chair could work fine, and that the couch isn't even being used for the injury. It's covered in laundry and being used as a dog toilet. Mom wasn't having it and yelled at me for being entitled and rude, claiming I'm threatening her and making life harder for her and roommate. I'm taking back the couch and calling my dad to see if we can store it in a storage unit for now. Update 2. Well, the couch seems like it's gonna be tricky to salvage if possible, and my mom just bought another couch out of the blue. It cost $300 and she expects me to pay her back for this. I'm not planning on it, considering she didn't tell me she bought it and my original couch only cost $60. I'm 16. $300 is a lot of money for me. She's now complaining I'm ungrateful, causing drama, and a waste of her money. I'm just so at a loss, I don't know what to do. Planning on trying to figure out if I can get a lock for my door and will tell mom to send the expensive couch back. Might just buy myself a new one off Facebook Marketplace or something. Not the asshole. Take that couch back, explain to your mom's roommate, and for the love of God, get a lock on your room in case your mom has similar ideas in the future. Not the asshole. I think being possessive of stuff you bought and personalized is fair. If it's no big deal, then your mom can give up her recliner. Not the asshole what the fuck who uses borrowed furniture for their dog's pee pad parking spot. If I were there I'd be helping you move some furniture right about now. Mom, you need to pay me not only for what I paid for that loveseat but also my time in decorating it. Then add $100. Or, roommate, please do not invite your dog to pee on my loveseat. Mother is letting you use it for your foot, not so your dog can pee on it. That is rude to do to piece of furniture just lent to you, not given. Tell your dad. If mom is giving you stuff away, stop living with her. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It was a nice gesture until it was an animal's litter box. Take it back. Not the asshole. This is a crappy situation. As a minor I'm not sure what recourse you have except get into a weird tug-of-war situation over a couch. It's clear neither your mom or her roommate respect your property or your artwork. Info. You're going to be taking back the couch my mom moved out of my room, and then what? She takes it back, and you take it back, and she takes it back? What's your plan? Playing devil's advocate for a moment, is there a chance that the roommate, who according to your mother is using it to rest her foot on, saw that she had been given a more special item, and used what she had, doggy pee pad, to try and do their best to protect the item? This feels like a possibility. The roommate, if this were true, should jump at the chance of a replacement item with less sentimental and artistic value, and demonstrate that the only asshole in this situation is your mother. Either way, not the asshole. Am I the asshole for refusing to babysit my sister's kid? Me, 20F, and my sister, 35F, don't have a great relationship. We lived together in my family home until she moved out a few years ago with her husband. She was emotionally abusive and controlling throughout my entire childhood, and ever since I was little, I resented her and skipped any kind of chance to get closer to her. However, since she moved out, things got a little bit better. I was able to find some common ground with her, and that is her kids. Even though I don't like her, I love her kids. They are 1 and 4 years old. I have been babysitting my older nephew ever since he was a baby. Anytime my sister had to run some errands or had any type of event, I would babysit him. The thing is, sometimes she would call me to babysit him for some really useless errands, and I started to feel like she was being selfish. However, I didn't really know how to set boundaries and say no, so I would babysit him regardless, even when I didn't feel up to it. Side note: I am on the spectrum and I have sensory issues, so being around kids for a long time stresses me out, especially if they are loud. Well, things escalated from here, and sometimes I babysat him for 3-4 days a week. During the pandemic, they moved back in for 3 weeks because they were renovating their apartment, and during those 3 weeks I babysat my older nephew from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, because my sister was pregnant with my younger nephew and I felt like she could use my help, even though those 3 weeks mentally drained me. I lost a lot of patience, and this caused a lot of stress for me as an autistic person who needs a lot of alone time. In the meantime, I went off to college and I wasn't home as much, so I couldn't babysit for her. I also worked on my self-esteem and started learning how to set boundaries. Well, fast forward to July 2021. She told me that she wants me to babysit her 1-year-old for a month, 4 hours every day. Her maternity leave is ending and she got a job offer, so she can't be at home anymore with the kids. The older one is in kindergarten almost all day, so he isn't a problem, but the younger one is. Essentially, he is in kindergarten but he won't be there full time since he is only 1. Which is a problem for my sister and her husband because they both finish work at about 4 p.m. and they need to pick him up at about 12. When she asked me this, I instantly felt angry and said absolutely not. I went off and said how I want to have my own life. I have a boyfriend. I need to study, and I am also planning on finding a job. And on top of that, I don't even need an excuse, I just don't want to be around a baby every day. She somehow backed off, but ever since she asked me, she's been guilt-tripping me and saying how she will need to pass on the job offer if she doesn't figure something out. I honestly think it's her own fault and that she needs to find a babysitter. So, am I the asshole? Edit. I forgot to mention that she even offered to pay me for the month, but honestly babysitting is just not the job for me, and I think I could use the time I have to find a job that I actually want to do. Plus, I literally don't even think that the money is worth my mental health. Honey, you have the right to your own life. It's her responsibility to figure out a solution and not take advantage of you. Heart with ribbon, you're not the asshole. Not the asshole. She can put her 1-yo in daycare. You're not her nanny. Not the asshole, her kid, her problems. Op. Good on you for respecting your own boundaries. Keep them in place and do not budge. No is a complete answer, and you shouldn't have to justify that to anybody. Your sister can find a babysitter for 2 hours a day. She just wants to save money by having you babysit every day. You have a life and can't commit to taking care of a 1-year-old each day. Your sister should respect that. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You were not born to serve her babysitting needs every time she comes a calling. She can look for someone else to fill that kind of role if she's going back to work. If you're uncomfortable with it and feel you're being taken advantage of, that's valid, and you're allowed to have your own life that doesn't revolve around serving your sister's babysitting needs. Not the asshole. As you said, you have your own life to focus on and their kids are not your responsibility. 100% not the asshole. Just because you're related doesn't mean you have to automatically babysit your siblings' kids. And while it is only 2-4 hours, which doesn't seem like a lot, that's 10-20 hours a week, skipping weekends, and that's almost a part-time job. And you hit it right on the head, you don't need an excuse. Not the asshole at all. Those are her kids and she needs to put them in daycare or find somebody else to babysit them. You are a college student with your own life. She cannot expect you to stop your life to babysit her children. Your sister is selfish. Am I the asshole for telling my friend to get a prenup? Update. I sent Katie this post and she was originally very angry with me for publicly posting about her personal life. I did change certain details such as their names and his specific job title, although it's adjacent to his actual job. However, we had a very long conversation and basically she forgave me for the post and my comments to her, understood why I would be concerned, but ultimately, stood firm in her belief that a prenup was not necessary and that John was not actually a bad guy and I needed to get to know him better. I have decided to drop it and just be there for my friend. I am not her lawyer and was not acting in a professional capacity at all, only out of my concern and love for her. Also, many of you seem convinced that either I'm not a real lawyer or that I know nothing about family law, trusts. All I have to say is my $200,000 of law school debt would have to disagree with you, and the University of Google should probably make it clearer that family law is jurisdiction specific and I purposefully did not specify the state where I practice. Also, not all trusts are the same, so just because your trust is one thing doesn't mean all other trusts will too. Sheesh, this is AITA asshole. Not a 1L. Let's pretend we are legal experts after a week of class forum. My friend Katie has a very large trust fund as a result of her father's death. She has been dating this guy John for several months. He recently found out about the trust fund and convinced her to buy a house for both of them, and put it in both of their names. He's also pushing her to support him financially so that he can quit his job, he's an engineer, so that he can pursue his dream of being a hydroponic farmer, aka he just wants to grow and smoke weed all day. The trust fund has certain limitations though on what the money can be spent on and how much she can access. However, she is granted more control and funds when she turns certain ages and or hits certain milestones, one of which is getting married. John recently proposed to her, with no ring and no fanfare or romance. He basically just demanded that they get married immediately. I think John is a garbage dumpster of a human being and that he's only proposing to her because he wants more access to her money. Katie is head over heels in love with this guy and is willing to give him anything. I told her that she needs to get him to sign a prenup and she blew up at me and told me to mind my own business. Maybe it's because I'm a lawyer so I don't think prenups are a big deal. In my opinion everyone should sign one. But especially in her situation where there is so much wealth disparity, I think it would be irresponsible to not get one from him. She hasn't spoken to me since and I found out through friends that she doesn't intend to unless I apologize. I get that technically it's not my business, but Katie is one of my childhood best friends and I can't stand the idea of standing idly by while this guy cons her out of all her money. Am I the asshole for saying something to her about a prenup? Should I apologize and try to pretend it's all okay now? Not the asshole. He's literally just using her at this point. He doesn't love her, he loves her money. I agree with you, she should sign a prenup, and the fact that she blew up over it, maybe something deep down tells her she knows you're right and doesn't want to admit it. Not the asshole, he's using her and she's happy being used. So let her. I wouldn't be able to stand around and watch. So I would have to leave her to being used. But that's me. You're a good friend, but it sounds as if she's been dickmatized. And you can't help someone who doesn't want help. Not the asshole. Though I don't think you're telling her to do the right thing. She needs a new man. Don't apologize, but I'd go ahead and send a message letting her know exactly why you said what you did. Don't hold back, be 100% honest. Also let her know that when reality finally hits her, you'll be waiting to talk to her again as she's already made it clear what her priorities are with this guy in her life. As a lawyer I'm sure I don't have to tell you this, but you should probably phrase it a bit more eloquently than I. Not the asshole. Your advice is excellent and you are being a good friend. Not the asshole. Prenuptial agreements are vital in cases where there's a clear financial imbalance between the parties. Have her see a lawyer and discuss all of it. Not the asshole, you are just looking out for your friend's best interests and I bet she comes crawling back to you to cry when she loses it all to him. Not the asshole, but I think you should split the baby. Don't apologize for what you said. Apologize for not telling her you were speaking with your experience as a lawyer. Explain that, as a lawyer, you believe all couples should sign a prenup and that they are in place to protect both parties, which includes her fiancé. Refrain from saying anything bad about her fiancé and stress this is something you think all couples should do when they get married. She'll thank you later when they get divorced. Not the asshole. If you care about someone you will tell them the truth even though it's something they don't want to hear. Am I the asshole for refusing to help my sister with her child? All the names in this post are fake. Background. My 27M youngest sister, Anna 22F, demanded that I move out of the house when I was of age because she wanted my room to be hers since she have been sharing her bedroom with her twin sister, Sarah. My father was reluctant at first, but after months of arguing with my mother, he caved in and I move out. I was upset at first but knew that my father did what he had to do for the sake of our family's peace. He however supported me through college, which include paying for my rent. I work as a freelance architect and got paid well thanks to the high demands for custom-designed floor plans. I got married to my college girlfriend and we had 7 sons together, 5 Y.O. triplets, 4 Y.O. twins, 2 Y.O. 10 meters, O. She unfortunately got infected with COVID and passed away due to her own health complication in late January. I had been struggling to cope with the loss. In March, my father told me that they are struggling to get ends meet due to my sisters still living with them and they are on the verge of getting evicted. I offered to take them in, on the condition that they follow my house rules and my sisters would find a way to find their own place to stay. Anna have a 6-year-old son and a 2-year-old girl while Sarah have a 5-month-old baby. They agreed on the condition and move in. Living with them have been a nightmare. They complains about everything and anything that they could think of and my mother would supported them by nagging at me. If it's not because of my father, I would have kicked all of them out of my house. What infuriate me the most is that my mother and little sister would leave their children in the living room while I am working in my home office, expecting me to look after them despite I have my own children to be concerned about. Sarah's baby is extremely fussy and I would often have to hold her while working since she would cry the moment I put him down. When I confronted them, my mother would justify that I should not so patronizing as my little sisters need some time off motherhood too and handling children can take a toll on their body. Their logic is that I already have so much experience with children and looking after 3 more would not be so troubling. I have been threatening to kick them out so many times but they still continued leaving their children. It got to the point that I called the police on them last month and almost got the CPS involved if it's not because of them returning home within less than 15 minutes to explain themselves to the police. My father thinks that I overstepped my boundaries by calling the police. Now everyone in my family is accusing me of being an asshole and expressed how disappointed they are that I would be so irresponsible to neglect my own sister's happiness. I'm honestly confused. Am I the asshole though? Note: Sarah is the only one married between the 2 and brother-in-law works out of state. She could not move in with him as he lives with a bunch of other dudes and they could not afford their own place. It's hard for me to actually kick them out as Sarah's child is only 5 months old and with the current situation, I could not possibly risk her health just because of her mother's stupidity. Kick them out? Freeloaders the lot of them. Your dad is aw and your whole family are massive aw. Kicking you out cause your entitled sister wanted a bigger room. Your dad needs to man up. You're not the asshole. Info: do they pay rent? Start eviction process, make the agreements contractual, charge them for babysitting per hour. I would suggest these also edited. Not the asshole, kick them all out. I'm so sorry for your loss op. Your family doesn't sound like they even care about what you're going through. Not the asshole. Your family is taking advantage of you big time. And you are behaving like a doormat. So you are working from home, and are expected to be also a babysitter? Your sisters are entitled. And your parents are supporting your sisters, not you. The person that gave them a roof. Astonishing. Not the asshole, stop threatening to kick them out and actually do it. Not the asshole, kick them out, get your life back. They are all horrible people. They are just using you. And I am sorry for your loss. Not the asshole, but don't let them treat you like this. They basically kicked you out when you turned 18 and now want to live in your home and treat you as free housing and childcare. Kick them out, like they did to you. Not the asshole. I'm so sorry for your loss, but please don't let your family continue to take advantage of your kindness. You have 7 kids of your own as a single parent now and your mother is complaining your sisters need a break? That's insane. They need to leave your house or you will live in a constant state of stress, which is not good for your health or for your young family. And your kids need you. They are absolutely the #1 priority. Set a timeframe for them to be out and stick to it. They sound like a bunch of freeloaders.